The African slave trade is a painful and undeniable part of history, but it is misleading to say that white people created it. Long before Europeans arrived, the slave trade was thriving, run for generations by African and Arab traders. When Europeans first came to Africa, they were not searching for human exploitation. They came drawn by tales of gold, wealth, and prosperity. One of the most powerful stories was that of Mansa Musa, the legendary ruler of the Mali Empire. In 1324, he set out on a pilgrimage to Mecca with 60,000 people and camels, carrying so much gold that his spending disrupted the global economy for over a decade. This legendary journey brought the wealth of Mali to the attention of the world, sparking European exploration of Africa. At first, Europeans sought gold and trade routes, but soon they became entangled in the already thriving slave trade. African and Arab traders often offered enslaved people instead of gold, and what had been a regional trade became a transatlantic tragedy. We must acknowledge the evil and suffering caused by slavery. Millions were taken from their homes, families were torn apart, and generations were scarred. But we must also recognize those who fought against this injustice. The abolitionists, reformers, and faithful men and women who risked their lives for freedom. White people should not feel guilt for the evils of slavery if they have done no wrong, just as Black people today should not feel shame for historical wrongs committed by others of the same race. Blame and guilt for actions belong to individuals, not entire communities or races. The history of slavery is a painful reality that involved individuals from various backgrounds, including African leaders who sold other Africans into bondage and others who actively perpetuated this cruelty. Similarly, today, certain individuals, regardless of race, engage in harmful practices like drug trafficking, which devastate communities and those striving for a better life. But for those who do not partake in these wrongs, the past should be a lesson, not a life sentence. Many white people today carry a misplaced burden of guilt for the transatlantic slave trade, feeling responsible for deeds committed generations before them. This collective guilt has allowed some with questionable intentions to manipulate others, using shame to advance agendas or make excuses rather than encourage personal growth and achievement based on individual merit. As we address these historical realities, we must also uplift the principles of personal responsibility, learning from history without being constrained by it. By freeing ourselves from inherited guilt, we create room to honor each other's humanity, build understanding, and strive toward a future of unity and mutual respect. The U.S. Constitution, though written in an imperfect time, became a foundation for freedom and human rights. It was shaped by ideals rooted in faith and justice. Many white and Black Americans fought to end slavery, marched for civil rights, and worked to create a more just society. God calls us to judge fairly, not with hatred, and to recognize both the wrongs and the courage of those who sought to make them right. Britain's fight against slavery was historic, passing the Slave Trade Act in 1807, then the Slavery Abolition Act in 1833, and pressuring other nations to follow. Christian reformers like the Quakers, evangelicals, and voices like John Locke argued that slavery was morally wrong. Their work changed history, proving that truth and persistence can end even the most powerful injustice. Today, some voices try to weaponize the memory of slavery, turning it into a source of inherited guilt and division. But the truth of history is not just oppression, it is also progress. It is unity. It is the courage of Black and white abolitionists working side by side, and the breakthroughs that followed, inventions, ideas, and freedoms that blessed humanity as a whole. Slavery still exists today in hidden forms, but we continue to fight for justice. Our work is not finished. True culture righteous culture calls us to face the past honestly, honor those who fought for truth, and work toward a future built on justice and unity.